Now it's time for Desktop Discussions.
Hey, folks, if you're the type of person that you feel confused, you feel a mix of emotions more than you like to admit, you don't know why you feel this way from time to time, especially if it's often, you don't know why you feel that way, but you want to get to the bottom line, you want to get to the bottom of the issue. Why is it that you're overcome with these emotions, these feelings? Well, I like to say that this episode is for you because you're going to gain something. So grab a pen, grab a paper. I want to share a few things with you that hopefully you can take away with you and that will be of great benefit to you. Look, I'm Sir Charles Carey. I've done a lot of things. Peak Performance is only one of them. I'm a content creator, musician, et cetera, et cetera. I've done quite a bit. And I'm sure if you wanted to learn more about me specifically, if you look it up, you can definitely find it. Excuse me. But the mindset fix is what we're talking about today, and how you can overcome some of the challenges that you may have. Some things that, again, they come out of nowhere or seem to come out of nowhere. And because they seem to come out of nowhere, they catch you by surprise. They may throw you off your center, throw you off your game, and you have an unsettled feeling that resides within you. So just understand this. There's no one fix for everyone. There's not a solution or a formula that if someone were to drop it on you, drop it in a bottle, put it in the form of a pill, that everyone would take this pill or this formula, and then all of a sudden, all of your problems would go away. That's not how life works. We all have different makeups, we all have different temperaments and characters. And because of that, we all learn and grow and change and shift at different rates. And there's nothing that's going to stop that, because that's what makes us unique. Now, let me say this. We're all human. And because we're all human, we want to relish in the fact that we're unique in our own different ways. We may do some things the same, but then there's a point when someone veers to the right and someone veers to the left. And that's just the way life is. And to be quite honest, I think we'd all like to keep it that way because that's what makes life interesting, how you learn, how you engage, et cetera, et cetera. But if I had to cut to the bottom line, is that the mindset fix is something that it takes time to cultivate. It takes time to, how would I say, get to the bottom of understanding what the fix or what the need is, what needs to be addressed in order to fix things, because we all have preferences, we all have options, we all have different desires, we all have different opinions. And some of those things very specifically make you feel a certain way. So if I go against your opinion, your desire, your preference, and obviously we're on two different ends of the scope or just slightly different ends of the scope, you may feel a certain way. And so may I. Now, again, remember, I said some of us, we're all unique characters or want to feel that we're unique. So the point is, because we differ, sometimes some of us really are opposed to those who don't act like us, listen to us, do what we say, do things the way we say. And again, that's what makes us different. And for a lot of people, not only does it make us different, it makes them angry that you won't go along with their program. Now, that's one thing. And, you have a right to feel the way you do, whatever it may be. But sometimes we're different because of outside influences, because of cultures, because we're trying to, fit in with, a particular thing, right? You want to get on a team, right? The team does things a certain way. They have different rituals that they do. They exercise and then they, God knows what, right? And if you want to fit in, you want to do exactly what that team does. And it's even the same in everyday life, whether it's business, whether it's sports, no matter what it is, if it's the arts, we are akin to things that are aligned with the way we do things, and we form opinions about those things. And sometimes those are the same very things that we find that mentally we are looking to identify with others based on those things that we want, based on those things that we like, based on how we see those things. I see a couple of comments. Let me see what people are saying. I'm not really sure. Hey, how's it going, Matthew? Thanks for jumping in. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The mindset fix, it's real. And again, no one normally walks around thinking about that term, the mindset fix. No one normally walks around thinking about, do I have a problem in this area or that area? No, but we do walk around feeling a way about different things. They may be business related, they may be personal, but yet we still feel a certain way because it doesn't necessarily make us feel good if we're not comfortable with it or familiar with it. And there's this thing called generational curses. So again, if you remember, I said sometimes we do things because of culture. Um, Culture is also family oriented. Family is a culture. The family has a way of doing things. If your family has been known to do things a certain way, 9 times out of 10, you've heard about it, whatever it is: cooking, sewing, work ethic or lack of work ethic, right? So if there are things that your family is known for or known for doing, a lot of times that trickles down the good things as well as the bad things. Now, we all talk about the bad things because, depending on your community where you come from, they call it, again, generational curses, or how would I say, this habits is what it really is at the end of any day. And certain habits make us feel a way because um, we're used to, again, comfort. If I had to move you out of your comfort zone, then you would not like that. That means you have to start learning things differently. You have to start looking at things differently. That's why in business, I talk about the fact that you have to learn to look at things differently. Literally, I say that actual phrase, and I show them a picture of the Amazon logo, and I ask people, what do you see? And you see the A, there's an arrow underneath that goes to the end. And in my humble opinion, that means that Amazon has everything from A to Z. They have the whole scope of everything that we want. We go to Amazon and we buy. We go to Amazon and we look. But that arrow, it's also resembles a smile. So I add a little extra to it. I say that, not only do they have everything we need, but they're smiling in the process as they're taking our coin, right? So you have to learn to look at things differently, to understand the deeper meaning, and to maybe get a deeper understanding of it. So also when it comes to culture or being a product of your environment, and generational curses, it's all kind of hand in hand. Because if you are the type of person, you do exactly what you say. I'll now give you a good example. If you do exactly what you've been told, how long does that last? Right? Now, Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you do better. So let's think about it. You grew up as a kid, you're raised by your family to do things a certain way, ethics, whatever, work ethic, cooking, on and on and on, the list of things that you learned as a child. How many of those things spill into your adulthood? Probably a lot. However, as an adult, when you become an adult, when you learn, or if you learn that some of those things are not good for you, or some of those things are not true, do you keep doing them? You see, it's a mindset thing. We are creatures of habit. And habitually, we get so used to doing things, we don't realize sometimes that we no longer have to adhere to the things we were told when we were young, when we were little, and as we grew up. Because as you grow up, you learn things differently. And if you learn that something no longer works for you, why are you still doing it? Right? I had a coach that was talking about how the little boy was watching the old man fish, and he would catch big fish and little fish, right? You get it? He would say, the little boy would see the old man catch big fish and little fish, and he would keep the little fish, but he would throw the big fish back time and time again. So the little boy watched the old man continuously throw the big fish back in the pond or the river, whatever it was. And finally, the little boy went over to the old man and said, Mister, why do you keep throwing the big fish back? Those are some whoppers, right? So the old man looks at the little boy, and he goes in his bag and he pulls out the frying pan, and he's got the little bitty frying pan. And he said, because the fish is too big. Now, I know most of us, or many of us, we would cut that sucker up and make sure we keep those big fish. But because his mindset is set or adjusted on, this is what I have, and this is what I need to go with this small frying pan, he only selected to keep the little fish. See, so, and if you never heard that story, I know there's so many people that tell it so much more eloquently than I have, but I'm just trying to make a point. Now, the example, and that was an example, but here's another example. My mother told me when I was younger, don't drink before you finish your food, because if you drink, you're going to fill up and you won't finish your food. Now, do you know that to this very day, I prefer to drink once I have completed my meal? And that was God knows how many decades ago that she told me that. And I have, siblings and other family members that say, hey, you want to try this drink? Like while we're at dinner, if we go out to a restaurant, and I'll say, no. And kidding around, I say, no, mom said I shouldn't drink until I finish my food. And they laugh, and we all laugh about it. But regardless of it being a joke, I actually stick with it. I don't normally drink until I'm finished my food. I would say 85% of the time, maybe 90, I don't know. But again, the mindset is once you know better, as Maya Angelou says, you can do better. And she also says, believe people the first time. Not believe the same incident or set of occurrences over and over again. Believe them the first time. Why? Because that's who they really are. That's how they normally really truly feel, especially if you've had an occurrence with someone and they say, I'm sorry, but you've had the same incident with that person or a person like that time and time again. So, let's look at some possible solutions, because I know that the world is in upheaval. I know that it's a very dysfunctional time for us in this era that we're in because of various things, the way the government is run, et cetera, right? So that also will throw you off your center. And why it throws you off your center is because you may be concerned about your future. You may be concerned about your children. You may be concerned about your job. You're concerned about your finances. It just does not feel when negativity constantly is bombarding your mind, and you have no wins. You there's nothing that you can literally do about it. You have to hear this information time and time again. News at 4, 5, 6, 11, et cetera, on almost every network. So it can be overwhelming. So what can you do? Well, back in the old days, I'm talking about when I was growing up, there was this thing called the golden rule. And, it's everyone can't do it because everyone, again, responds differently. Our learning curve is different. Our tolerance level is different. But they say, and you can write this down, treat people the way you want to be treated. Now, you can best believe in a lot of cases, people are not going to treat you the way they want to be treated. They're going to treat you the way they feel like treating you. But you have to let them know in the beginning, this is why I mentioned Maya Angelou, whether you're going to accept it or not. But number one solution, in my opinion, treat people the way you want to be treated. Because if you do, and when you do, You have put the ground rules down. You put the stake in the ground and you let it be known you will or will not accept a certain type of behavior. And most people can appreciate that because you're being upfront and they know what they're dealing with. And I think you will learn a great deal about other people if you can follow the old school golden rule. Now, number two, and I really don't have a whole bunch of them, just a few things I wanted to go over. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. And that includes social media. So, in other words, if someone's writing something or posting something controversial, you don't know how many times I've wanted to go in. But I'm trying to protect my image. I'm trying to protect what I'm known for as a speaker and author. I should not get into every rant or every controversial comment with every person. Now, I will stand my ground if it's in real time and speak to you and tell you how I feel, but I am not going to allow you to drag me into a dead end conversation or a conversation that goes nowhere. Meanwhile, we're arguing on whatever social media platform. I'm not going to do that. I have to have respect for what I've done, what I've built, what I stand for, and how people see me. And if it's in real time, I guess you have to have a point that you know that you're not going to say but so much, or it's going to come to a point where you're going to make yourself known and then you're done with the conversation. Again, let people know how you feel, what you're willing to accept, and what you're not willing to accept. And once again, some people will not be able to do this very easy because they're hotheads, because they're just known to be right. And I know that because I'm a right fighter, but because I do respect my business and I'm trying to put forth the right mindset as a speaker and author, I have to monitor how much of my personal opinions I give the world. Now, when it's warranted and it's in my wheelhouse, it's on my platform, on my stage, I'll give you the whole kit and caboodle, but I'm not going to let you draw me into something that's going to make me look foolish or unprofessional. So take that as a tip. Now, again, this is something that, again, it's difficult. In fact, I think all of these ideas may be difficult for many people because it's a free world, right? You've got freedom of speech, but you also realize that if you're looking for a job, people can trace how you behave online as well as in real time. You have to monitor your thoughts and your feelings. Like I'm watching something on television, and to me, it's crazy. I might do things differently than what I'm seeing portrayed on television. So, what do? I know how I feel, so I can turn it off. I know how I feel, so I can realize I have no control over another individual. I don't have to let it impact me personally. So changing the channel is something I can choose to do. And it's the same thing with social media. And it's the same thing in real time. If someone's speaking about something that I feel opposed to, I don't have to have a conversation with them. Yes, I know how to have a conversation, voice my opinion without getting caught up. But why allow it to rent space in my mind if the needle is not going to be moved? That is really key. And finally, this is final. You must be willing to tell yourself the truth. You see, the mindset fix, in most cases, you have to be willing and able to tell yourself the truth. Because if you can't, and if you don't, who are you fooling? You cannot fool yourself. You cannot fool yourself. And if you don't tell yourself the truth, you're living a lie. And you're teaching and showing and being an example for other people to do the same thing, especially if you're a parent, if you have a staff, if you are trying to be a leader, if you are an actual leader, you must tell yourself the truth. So to go over the summarized tips that I think that can be really beneficial for you. Number one, always remember the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Number two, if you don't have anything good or nice to say, keep your thoughts and your comments to yourself. Number three, monitor your thoughts and your feelings. It makes a huge difference. Trust and believe. And finally, number four, tell yourself the truth. If you don't tell yourself the truth, you may be doing a grave injustice to those who think very well of you, and those who may want to follow you, those who may want to hire you, and those that feel that you're worthy of their respect. So, with that being said, any comments, please post your comments. I like to hear them. I want to thank Matthew for jumping on and giving me a shout out. And any of the things that you have that maybe I did not share, please feel free to share those things. And I like to, I'm open to learning. So because you have a different view, maybe it's something I can gain from your perspective. As I always say, you got to radiate the brain and change the game. And I'll see you on the next one.